Greetings and welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. I hope that everybody is having a wonderful week, getting ready for a wonderful weekend. We are back with another Weekly News Roundup, another shorter show. And next week we have a crazy kind of week going on, so I will probably have a reduced number of videos, although we will shoot to be back here for the Weekly News Roundup. But I just can't guarantee how many videos I'm going to get during the week. I have some weird things going on, and I need to do a lot of crisscross state driving throughout the week. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll try and get a few videos out. I have did one, of course, today, and I am planning to get a good video out for Saturday. And then after that, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So just be aware of that. If we see fewer videos, I am likely just driving in more hours. If you'd like to help support the channel, have a look at our website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have all the ways you can do a monthly support. We have a locals that subscribes to our Patreon. We do have a Thursday call at 7 p.m. for supporters. The link for that is up on the on all those supporter networks. That is over there. So if you want to help support the channel, that is the way we do it, because, of course, I do not like doing sponsorships. I mean, I do some affiliates, and even those sometimes make me feel dirty. But these are generally companies that I work with, I like, and have benefited me throughout the years. So there is a little bit of that. And, hey, now that Honey's under a little bit of scrutiny, I'm actually seeing a couple pieces of affiliate revenue coming back. There was a time I made a lot of money on affiliates. And, of course, our channel viewership has gone up and our affiliate quantities have gone down. And that is probably because Honey was stealing all of your affiliate links. But anyway, there's always that. Let's go ahead and get in. We have one major topic, and then we are going to take a break for our comments, and we are going to get into our QuickLines and a couple pieces of SillyVille. Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. Our main topic for this week is the myth of Mythos. Of course, Mythos is the new AI model released by Anthropic. And what's interesting to me is that Anthropic, in all of the models looking at safety, Anthropic always has come out on top. If you're like, ooh, I don't want to touch the AI devils, but I might have to do something here with the AI devils, and you need to use a commercially available AI model, I would definitely go with Anthropic's Claude, because it tends to be the overall safest. It tends to have, I don't know of any major suits it's involved in with causing harm with people, whereas every other AI company has been involved. I mean, not to say that it's beautiful, glorious, and rosy, but it is the one with the least controversy. It's like voting for that president, you know? I mean, I don't like a lot of things Donald Trump is doing, but I would rather have that dysfunctional president than the alternative that we had. I mean, it's not a good option no matter what we get, but there were only a couple guys on the candidate list. Of course, in the AI world, you can always run yourself an Llama server, download local models, and use it offline. When I do need to use AI, that is what I do. I run those on a local server. In fact, I'm running them on a laptop just using the CPU, not the GPU, which is something that you can do. But they released this new model called Mythos, which they came out and basically said, yeah, this is like devastating. We don't want to release this to the general public because it's a little bit too dangerous. Now, I was not able to find anything about the model other than the issues impacting software. So I don't know if it's specifically trained as a coding help or if it's more of a general LLM like a ChatGPT, etc. All of the articles I could find all point back to the same thing. Of course, they're all written by the same regressive AI blogs anyway, so who knows? I decided to settle on the Scientific American article because it had a couple of things in here. So what is this? Of course, they say it is too dangerous to release publicly. Cyber experts agree that the model's capability, but not all of them are buying the most alarming claims. In fact, there is a question here. Is the AI stuff happening because are they making this announcement just so that everyone catches the headlines and it's a great way to market the product. It very well could be. I mean, this thing could just be just marginally better than the other ones. Maybe it's a lot better than the other ones. Is it as specifically dangerous? And it looks like Scientific American did not save any of my highlights, so that's exciting. But what they basically said here is it comes out and it is a coding helper which can find various bugs, and it can even develop exploits on top of existing bugs. So in other words, you give it some piece of code, let's just say a Linux kernel, and they can look through this and project different bugs. And then it can say, hey, I found 6 bugs in this kernel. Let's go ahead and build a breach capability upon it, and it will daisy chain these bugs together. Something that would take a human coding team months, if not years, to pull off. It can do in a matter of minutes or hours, which means that in the right hands, giving it out to people who are truly benevolent people, they will be able to find all of these bugs, and then they'll be able to patch these bugs and carry on with developing a better, more stable program. But as we have talked about many times, AI isn't good enough to be used in a lot of the cases where we would love to turn things over because it makes too many errors. But scammers love it. And so if you were to release this out, the scammers would take a hold of it and would find these vulnerabilities and find new ways to scam, breach, attack, install malware, or whatever else. And then they wouldn't be reporting these. It would basically be up to somebody else to do it. So basically, Anthropic has been releasing it on a limited basis to a lot of companies. Even Mozilla has used this last week to find a bunch of different bugs. And so a lot of different companies are using this system, but then there's some question about whether or not it is true down here. This cybersecurity community remains split. So Peter Swire, professor of school at cybersecurity at Georgia Institute of Technology, says the Anthropic announcement was very dramatic and was a PR success, if nothing else. He says, he writes among his colleagues, a large fraction of cybersecurity professors believe this is pretty much what was expected and pretty much more of the same. So we don't know for sure. Is it really this such amazing model that will lead to, as they say down here, the apocalyptic end of the world, or is this just a brilliantly designed marketing scale to drive up hype, raise the stock prices, and make a few shareholders more money? That really is the ultimate question behind it. But in some of the original work in it, what has happened is a lot of bugs are actually legitimately being found in ways that other models have not been able to do. In fact, in one model, I can't remember, it's one of my articles here. One of these articles ran it through some hacking tests and found where most LLMs do nothing on this. Most LLMs do nothing on this. What they actually found is that Mythos found 73% success rate, whereas everybody else was 0. So maybe there is something behind this being extraordinarily dangerous. But there are obviously some problems with Anthropic. So even though Claude at Anthropic had some really good successes over the course of the last few months, dodging lawsuits where most people have had lawsuits, well, it is turning out in the latest hour here that there are indeed some points of malware. So researchers have claimed that the Claude desktop installs spyware on Mac OS. So there is a desktop. You can download the desktop, and the desktop will go over here, and it will allow you to get in here and install this as a desktop application, allowing you to do things. And then what it ends up doing is it's adding the native messaging host manifest for all of the popular Chromium-based browsers. So this is Chrome, Edge, Brave, Arc, Vivaldi, Opera, and Chromium. All of those browsers have components added to them into your operating system, even if you do not have those browsers installed. So if you at a later time install those browsers, the Claude can access information from those browsers. And this is called in some ways a malicious intent because, while it's not natively specifically malicious, it does create backdoors that can actually easily be exploited. And that really is the ultimate principle down here. So down here, is it really this bad? The article author here at Malwarebytes says, I don't think it's fair to say Claude Desktop installs spyware, but it does open up a system by expanding its attack surface. And that really is a problem. So while Claude has had a spotless tenure overall in the AI models as far as things going on from Anthropic, it is starting to show some chinks in the armor. Of course, Anthropic is also the company that the government is trying to say now that they're a potential foreign investors because they won't let us use our system in ways that they seem to be dangerous. But despite that, the government's using it anyway, so that's wonderful. But having a look at what Mythos is here, an AI tool for powerful public release, the models is seen as both a powerful defensive tool and a potentially serious offensive cyber weapon. So the company sharply is limiting access and signaling that does not plan to release it broadly to the market right now. Imagine a tool that can be independently find new vulnerabilities in software systems, platforms, and then turn them into exploits, even if that requires chaining them together with other vulnerabilities. So the NSA is reportedly already using Mythos Preview, apparently to stress test and harden the system, even though the Pentagon labeled it as a supply chain risk. So, hey, it's a supply chain risk. Nobody can use it. Hey, that's a really good model. We would like to use that one. We want that model. That's our model. Come on, man. Please. You're still a supply chain risk, but we want your model. Wonderful. All right. Mythos can discover vulnerabilities across large code bases more quickly and reliably than existing tools, and can look for multiple flaws in one system and combine them into multi-step exploit chains to complete a compromise. How wonderful. Practical terms, it could mean faster attacks, more complex breaches, and less time for companies to fix weaknesses before they are exploited. So if this is released out, what's very possible is that people could get breached because a bad actor looks at a software package before somebody legitimately does, finds the issues, and then goes ahead and exploits it before anybody knows what's going on. So they flagged security risks in internal documents. AI lowers the skill level for offensive operations. This turns script kiddies into script cats, I guess, right? Less skilled actors could get access to very effective tools, significantly increase the number of advanced attacks, and techniques like fuzzing, dictionary attacks, and other brute force methods become much more effective when sped up by automation. AI-assisted iteration can provide an attacker with a lot more tries before the attacks get noticed. That is true. So basically, they want to they say down here, in the wrong hands, Mythos can be turned into a formidable adversary. So it's a good thing it's securely locked away, except that Anthropic uses the third-party vendors like everybody else, and as we all know that the third-party vendors are more vulnerable to breaches, and yes, now an unauthorized group has gained access to Mythos through a third-party supply chain hack. Let's just ban third-party stuff. Like, if your business cannot put together the infrastructure you need without bringing in some third-party group of morons, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have the ability to be in business, okay? We need to ban third-party providers for things, all right? We just use third-party for HR. Hire an HR team. That would cost too much money. So be it. Okay, so an unauthorized thing through a third-party vendor. Look at that. Group of unauthorized users had reportedly gained access to Mythos, this cybersecurity tool recently announced by Anthropic. Bloomberg has reported that a private online forum, the members of which have not been publicly identified, has managed to gain access through a third-party vendor. The person is currently employed at a third-party contractor that works with Anthropic, and the group has been using Mythos regularly since gaining access to it, and provided evidence to Bloomberg in the form of screenshots and a live demonstration of the software. How wonderful. Now, this group here is not specifically malicious. They are, quote, interested in playing with the new models and not wreaking havoc with them, end quote. Well, that's very nice. Most of the third parties just breach it and then take a whole bunch of money on the side and do do bad deeds with it. So, hey, at least we got the honest third-party vendor, but Anthropic, really, why is the third-party vendor to begin with? Especially when you're like, this thing is so dangerous, we're keeping it under lock and key. Only our third-party vendors who have spit shook and pinky swore with us, they're not going to breach anything, will have access to it. But they are under an NDA, they have spit shook, they have pinky promised, they will not access the system. And this is why we need to ban third parties and critical infrastructures for companies. All right. So Mythos was released to a select number of vendors, including big names like Apple, as part of an initiative called Project Glasswing. Limited release was designed to prevent its use by bad actors. Apparently, it doesn't stop its use by third parties. So there you have it, folks. Let me know your thoughts about that kind of stuff down there. It's just a little bit frightening, a little bit scary that third parties are so able to breach such systems. So anyway, let me know your thoughts about all of that in the comments down below. Oh, yeah, we might get out of here in record time. That didn't take as long as I thought. Let's go ahead and have a look at our comments. We'll jump on over to our Matrix server first. If you are on our Matrix server, we do have a live show section that is only opened up for the times we are actually live. Kaiser's over there. GNU plus switch to Linux. There you go. Yes, it's not Linux around here. It's GNU plus switch to Linux. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we do have the STL podcast, podcast.switchtolinux.com. Hey, last week I got the show up in record time. It actually went up on like Saturday, I think. That was pretty good. I'm gonna try to get this week's episode up tomorrow so I don't forget about it in the chaos of next week. So I'm gonna try. If not, Sunday, but we'll see. If AI cannot be run locally, then it's worthless. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock, cookies fed of an old dead clock. All right. There you go. You got over there on Rumble, 10 watching over there. We got Ivan's on over there, and we got Dan is over there. Anyone else over on Rumble? Ivan and Dan are lonely over on Rumble, if y'all want to jump over there. We got Certs currently watching on Odyssey, wherever an Odyssey is. Ivan's over there. Ila Swirl, greetings to you. How does one get excited about tech again? You know, I kind of got excited about tech when I switched to Linux and realized that I could actually control my tech again. But I get it sometimes, like, especially right now, we're in an era that, you know, some new tech just costs so much money. Like the new Raspberry Pis, what are they, like $300 if you want the 16 gig model of the Raspberry Pi, the 5. Like $300. I mean, tech is expensive right now, so that's one of the challenges. And then, of course, we have to deal with the fact that most tech is now gets locked down. So finding tech that you can use without tying it, and maybe that's how you make it fun again, is you figure out how to jailbreak tech out of the clutches of the evil big tech that creates it. Like, why is no company anymore satisfied with making a good product, selling it to me, and letting me do with it what I want? Because there's no recurring revenue for your stockbrokers that way. That's why. All right, something as good as released, it actually follows through. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Any Mozilla-based browsers caught in CloudNet? Mostly Chrome-based. Yeah, everything there was Chromium-based. I did not see any reference to Firefox-based browsers in there. It was like a system that I think Chromium-based browsers have that Firefox may not. Didn't Mythos escape an offline environment and get internet? I do not know. I mean, if it did, man, it's just like, oh boy. We're all our Odyssey groupies. Something fun we can do is WSL on Win99X environment. There you go. There, you always try that. If I had to use a third-party service, I'd make sure they would have very limited access to info. However, I would not want to use a third-party service provider when possible. Amen to that. All right, we got 31 watching over on Z2Bs. 2Bs or not 2Bs? Commodore fan, greetings. Hope all is well with you. Finding the usual sinus and allergies, otherwise good. Night of Light, hello to you. I'm hearing on the news that Iran plans to target the underseas fiber optic cables. How wonderful. Well, hey, it'll stop. We'll talk about it in the QuickLines, but the Pfizer reports are up for vote again, and hey, maybe it'll stop some of that. You know, who knows? Let's see. Got to smoke a deal this weekend. Got a club golf cart from a neighbor. Very nice. Very nice. Three now. 2 electric and 1 gas. Which one do you like better, the electric or the gas? Are you a Greta lover or a Greta hater? Let me know. Silver Ventures, greetings to you. No one you know, 1980, hello to you. If 3906, greetings to you. Fresh Vintage is here, what up? If you guys like car stuff, Fresh Vintage does some car shows and things like that. Hello, XGUI4 Studio, hello, sorry you're late. Hey, Ivan, GUI is late. Take him out back and lash him with like a couple wet noodles. All right. Cumber fan. I used Honey in the past since I had PayPal, but the deals became non-existent over time. Not to mention all those poor content creators you deprived of their affiliate revenue. So PayPal, but barely use it these days. Yeah. I kept the legacy PayPal account on my business, but it was so painful to use. I rage quit it in the middle of the desert in Buckeye last year. I was camping out in Buckeye, had to log in at night to just do books, just doing my books, and could not get into the stupid thing. They will not allow me to attach my business phone number that I've had for like 15 years. And I'm just like, have to call them every single time. They ask me the exact same 3 questions in the exact same order every single time. I was going to call them up and tell them the answers to the 3 questions they're going to ask before they do it. I'm like, this is not account security. And I rage quit and found another provider. And yeah. Still kept that one there for some things, but I haven't logged into it in a while. Let's see. I'll do wherever you can avoid using AI devils. That's right. Is Claude great? No, it's not great. It's just the only one that it shows up the best on all safety tests. Claude shows up better than all of the other ones. Yeah, Trump is not 100% perfect. When he gets it right, usually is a massive way. Yeah, that's correct. You know, I mean, there's a few things he's doing I tend to disagree with, but for the most part, I'm happy with the candidate I voted for. Let's see, I'm Canadian, but from what I've heard, I tend to agree. Trump seems to be less evil. Yes. KO2610, your number has been called. Greetings to you. Right, Elvis Canada. Let's see. We're all people of the interwebs. That's right. Use Artix, by the way. There you go. Awesome. Writing Ice Minecraft launcher and using Qt right now. Very nice. But will AI make Doom? Probably. Yeah, I'm sure AI can play Doom. That's probably been done. I can't remember if it has or not. If Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba gets their way, they might eventually be part of the U.S. Yeah, there you go. Does finding bugs lead to fixes that create new bugs? I mean, it can. Sometimes you patch something and it creates a new bug. Sometimes you just need to rework some things. When I played, mainly using Prism Launcher. There you go. I'm in the province of Quebec and tend to agree with some of the stuff on Trump's side, but not all of it. Not want to be part of the U.S. All right. Well, I mean, I don't think Quebec ever decided they wanted to join the U.S. Just a couple of the ones in the Midwest ones, not the coast, not British Columbia, because there's something apparently in the water. I mean, why is it like nearly every state and province that touches the ocean on either ocean tends to be crazy? Not all of them, but many of them. Let's see. I've been working on Python script to use YouTube API v3 to get all the videos in a playlist and convert it to JSON feed. Maybe the current feed used by YouTube limits to 15. Wonderful. Come to the dark side. We have cookies. I'll come to the dark side for cookies. It depends on what type of cookies. If you're putting nuts in those cookies, forget about it. You're nuts. I'm not going over there. But if you get me some good cookies without nuts, except macadamia nut cookies. Those cookies are allowed to have nuts in them. Anything else? No. But yeah, I can be swayed with cookies. That's for sure. Let's see. Pentagon is sus. I agree with that. As experience program, I will never trust AI to find bugs because it will find false bugs, wasting time and effort. Yes. Who is that guy? He is evil. We don't need hold on. We don't need third-party idiots. We have our own homegrown idiots. Yeah. Never forget, a company's security is only as good as the cheapest third-party entity we hire. Yes, that's correct. Later confirmed they are still running Windows 8.1 on their home computer. Windows 8.1? Come on, man. That's new. They weren't on XP. But Windows Vista, you know your third-party contractor is mentally deranged if they're still running Vista. If they're running Windows Millennium, just fire them on the spot. I mean, of course, if they're running Millennium, they're probably not getting any work done. They're seeing too many blue screens of death. All right. I'm just about to breach into this. Oh, crap. Only thing script requires good is a Google Cloud API key, surprisingly efficiently requiring one quota call for a playlist, detailing one for every 5 videos. Hate lockdown tech. Yep. Still use Windows 8.1 because they have the tiles. Yeah, there you go. Who liked the tiles? The tiles was really good on the Windows Phone. On the Windows computer, not so much, but on the Windows Phone, it was actually pretty good. Nothing like an old Windows that has no support. That's right. 2023. Wow, only 3 years to updates. What would go wrong with that? Electric golf carts are overall easier to maintain, only have replaced the tires and batteries every several years. Gas have replaced filters, oil change, etc. yearly. Okay. Oh no, hopefully he won't doom IRL. Yeah, you never know. Make sure you all like and subscribe. Amen to that. Thank you. Electric to me makes more sense for a short-range golf cart, so I can drive around my small town for the cost of gas. Yep. Did they use that brain-powered bio-CPU to play Doom? Oh, yes, they did. Yes, you are right. They did use the brain-powered bio-CPU to play Doom. You are correct. I do remember that one. And when they do that, playing it on the pregnancy test, I will be deeply impressed. That's right. Kit Kat bars. Oh no. Who has seen the Kit Kat bars? Anyone have an F1 Kit Kat bar? Did you run it through the Kit Kat bar stolen checker? Let me know. People tend to blindly trust it as a crutch to make up for poor lack of fundamental skills and knowledge. Yeah, and that's the thing about AI is you really have to test it. First thing I did when I installed the Llama, I installed some models and I started asking it questions I knew a lot of things about. It was completely wrong. It was like I was asking it, so I was in, let's see, I think when I got it up and running, I was in Barstow, and I was thinking, should I go down to Sunfair, which is more south? And I asked it, hey, should I stay here in Barstow, or should I go down to Sunfair to get better solar power, solar efficiency? And the thing's like, well, Sunfair being a coastal city will have a whole lot more. I'm like, dude, Sunfair is not a coastal city. Oh, you're so right. It's not. I have no idea how I know that. Like, it's a basic geography question. How could you get that wrong? You know what I mean? So, and of course, the one thing that it completely missed is the differential of the angle of the latitude. So Barstow and Sunfair differ by, I think it's like 0.3 degrees or something like that. Well, 0.3 degrees can make a lot of difference when it comes to, you get an extra like 5 minutes of daylight and a slightly more favorable angle if you're in Sunfair versus Barstow. And so looking at the angle differential, the AI didn't even consider that. So, well, of course, when I told it that, it's like, oh, you are so right. Oh, how could I possibly? So it's like, if I have to completely correct it on things that it should know about, and then it's going to be that sycophantic, what are we wasting our time for? Like, in other words, I would not use AI to actually seek to find knowledge about questions I don't know the answers to. But what I would do is I would use it to, write an article about these things, making sure to tell it all these things so it has it in its memory. That would be a better use of AI. And indeed, that's what I use it for. I use it to put together client articles and SEO strategies for client websites. And frankly, it does a pretty good job at that because I know the content material. I tell it what I want, give it a couple points of content material, tell it the specifications of the article, And by and large, it does a decent job, and it saves us a lot. And, it's either I learn how to do that or I get fired and ChatGPT takes my job. So weigh it. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back into, actually, after I have some tea here, I have English tea time from Bigelow. A nice spot of tea. Anyone got some crumpets? All right. Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. We are talking today the QuickLines and SillyVille. And we do have a couple of updates here, so let's go ahead and chat updates. So the first update is the Colorado age attestation bill that kind of started most people aware of all of this crazy nonsense, has a carve-out for open source applications and operating systems. So, of course, Carl Richard at System 76, of course, a Linux computer company, and also the creators of Cosmic Desktop Environment and Pop OS. When this, and they are, of course, Colorado based, when this comes out, they're like, ugh! Because they're in Colorado, they completely have to comply. And how do they do that? Do they pressure Ubuntu to put something in? Do they have to put something in their Cosmic Desktop environment? How do you possibly get something like this into an operating system by which somebody else could go in and pull that same system out? Because, yeah, Linux is open source and the user can do it. So he actually had some discussions with the politicians up there. And in the Senate bill, there are revisions to it which allow carve-outs for open source software and operating systems. So at the time of I was reading the articles last night, the updated text was not on there, but writing on Blue Sky and Mastodon, he says, I received the amended Colorado age attestation bill. Open source operating systems and applications are excluded. Code repos are excluded, like GitHub and GitLab, and containers such as Docker and Podman are also excluded. So he says he testifies Thursday, that would be today, and could use your help. I need stories about incredible things kids have made thanks to access to open source software, and he asked for DMs. So that's actually pretty good news. The downside of this is one state law, and we have federal laws that do not at this time have the carve out that are being discussed. Now, there is some pretty good estimates that the federal one is not going to go anywhere, especially since most of the other laws that we have are tied up in courts right now, and in many cases they have said, yeah, the potential that this is actually going to pass constitutional muster is not good. So United States might still be free, but that's not stopping big tech from starting to implement this. Of course, the latest iOS update pushes your age attestation, and let's suppose the Colorado one does it. They push the attestation with the carve-outs for open source software, and then the federal law passes. It doesn't have a carve-out. Well, it's pretty much useless. But now having one state with these, and if there's favorability towards that, maybe any other laws that get passed would have these carve-outs put into it, because these politicians have no earthly idea what in the hell they're talking about. And the fact of the matter is, if these people, if you cannot hand them a phone and just ask them like a couple base questions. Number one, is this an iPhone or an Android? Okay, open up such and such an application. Okay, go into the settings and tell me the Android version of this Android phone. If they can't do that type of stuff off the top of their head, they have absolutely no business making any laws regarding computer equipment at all. Stop making laws about things you know nothing about. But, of course, these people will not respect power, and this is why we also need term limits. Can you imagine how much better our country would be if we did not have this dystopian group of psychopaths that have been in office for the last 70 years? Like, Congress is supposed to be where you go and do your public duty, not to build a stupid career on. And then these people decide they're going to learn nothing while they're in office other than how to do inside trading and manipulate things for their own benefit and their friend's own benefit, et cetera, et cetera. And so the challenge here, of course, number one, let's go ahead and get term limits. Number two, maybe we should have a basic technological competency exam for these people. And if they cannot tell you basic things about a basic piece of equipment, they're just not qualified to sit here in office in a technological world. We are in a technological world. They They want us all to be using technology, yet they do not know the first thing about any of this kind of stuff. Not a one of them that can't tell you basic things about technology and computers should be in office. Vote them all out, people. Vote them all out. Bring in people who understand what they're talking about. Anyway. Apple fixed the bug that we talked about last week that would allow the FBI to get in to see the Signal messages. If you remember that, Signal sends a message out and it shows up on the notification cache on your phone. And even if you delete Signal, delete the app, delete the message, those notifications remain in the cache. So Apple actually fixed that bug this week. So this way, if you do have Signal or you have a situation where you don't want that message to be in cache, they actually are clearing that cache out more frequently now. And so that is actually a really good update as far as this goes. That this basically not only Signal, but of course any private application which sends messages out to the notification center will actually be properly cleared, is what the saying goes. All right, this one here is an interesting one. Android 17 is going to end all or nothing access to your contacts. Now, the article here at Malwarebytes does say this does not go far enough, and I agree. I think that the sharing of contacts on an Android device should be effectively eliminated. And the reason is I cannot give consent to that. Now, a couple major carve-outs. Obviously, if you have an email application, and there should be a means to get in there and say, okay, which of these contacts has an email address put in there? So like my phone, I don't use the contacts on my phone as an email list and things like that. I'm a boomer, guys. Okay. We had separate mailing lists on email, like a phone book with people's phone numbers and an email list is a different thing to a person with my old brain. You young folks, you have one little device that you store phone numbers and emails, and that one single contact list goes here and there and everywhere and all this kind of crap. All right. It's a different way of thinking about things. But for me, I do not have a single email address stored in the contact list on my phone. So I install some application. It's like, hey, I need your contacts. No, you don't. Like an email program. Here, I am an email program. Give me your contacts. I don't have any emails in my contact list. Like, you know, but I can understand if you do. I can understand an email application needing to see your contact list for emails, but that should be limited to I'm only going to be able to either look at specific contacts to see if there is an email in there, or to add an email to that specific contact, or show me the contact list and just show me the contacts that have an email in it. I can understand that. Obviously, a text messaging application or a phone application, of which you can swap those around on many phones, needs to have access to phone numbers. So obviously, you can allow that. But can you tell me, why does your Facebook account need that? You see, Facebook should be banned from having your contact list. I can look up your name on Facebook if I want to connect to you. But the fact that some person picks up my phone number from somewhere and simply adds it to their contact list, and then they happen to be a sheeple, and then as a little sheeple, they go into their Facebook, would you like to upload your contacts? And they go ahead and do all that crap. I did not consent to Facebook having my name and my phone number. Facebook should not have my name and my phone number. There is not a legitimate reason Facebook needs to harvest information from your contacts. But now what Android is doing is basically saying, hey, if circumstances need a contact, you can specify certain contacts or certain deals with contacts that you do not have a video game, for example, that can have the ability to access your contact list. But again, I still think applications should not have access to your phone contacts by default, because by sharing that information, you have to consent to somebody else. I do not consent to Facebook having any information about me, including my name or my phone number. And I resent the fact that some person might put my name into their phone, and then they're with Facebook, and then give Facebook my information, and now somebody else gave my phone contact information to Facebook when I make active steps to make sure Facebook cannot follow me around the internet. It should be banned to give your contacts to somebody else without your direct consent. Period. So anyway, what they're doing on Android 7, some apps on your phone want contacts. Most do not need them at all, but have been happily slurping them up for a lot of years. Google has decided to do something about it with the next version of Android. Android 17, currently in preview, is introducing a new contact picker that lets users grant apps access to specific contacts rather than the entire list. All right, so an app that can harvest your entire contact list map can map your social network, identify your family members, potentially hand that data to whoever's buying, and whenever you click yes and to show us all your contacts, it's not just your privacy you're playing with. And that is precisely why somebody else is give your information. I don't care about your privacy. Who has anything to hide? No. I'm sorry. I do not want the crazy people at One Hacker Way to have my phone number. Call me crazy. Call me a conspiracy theorist. All right, so location permissions are also set to becoming more granular. So this is good. The new button adds a nuance by letting app developers ask for your location in the moment tied to a specific action like finding a local cafe. So this is actually good. So instead of saying, hey, for your precise location, always your precise location when using the app or never at all, you can say precise location just right now while I'm looking for something nearby. Of course, I will note once again, you can go to a web browser that can't access your location, pull up a Google map and put you where you are because you should know how to read a map. Don't rely on your GPS or location services. And you can type in restaurants and you can see a giant list with all the different locations, even if you're not signed into a Google product. Isn't that amazing? You know, you don't need to like turn on your location services and say, here's where I am. Tell me everything nearby. You can do that yourself. Streets in America, by and large, still have these. They're usually green with white letters. Like everywhere there's roads and intersections, and they kind of tell you where you are. You can actually learn how to read a map, and you can take that map on that browser, and you can just move it around with your fingers and put that location about where you are right near the middle of it. You can go up to a little search bar and you can go find restaurants. It'll give you an amazing little map. You can do it as a list. You can set up as a direction. It's amazing. And you don't even need to log into Google for that. They don't even need to know it's you. Did you guys know that? No. You've been too busy just location services. Contacts. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. They did say they also blocked 8.3 billion bad ads. It's kind of funny. That was 99%. 8.3 billion bad. Let's see. So 1% of them got through, huh? It's like 800 million malicious ads that just got through. Yikes. Still, a census not doing quite enough, you think? 1% of an insanely large number is still very large. That's right. All right, let's see. Meta has a new plan. They need to figure out a way to get rid of more employees. So now they're logging their employers' keystrokes and mouse movements in order to train better AI models. Don't worry, they're not going to lay anybody off. They're just going to train everybody's job into the AI models. A new source of AI training models, its own employees. They're building a more capable and efficient artificial intelligence. Why would they do that? Right? So when reached for comment by TechCrunch, Meta spokesperson provided the following statement. If we're building agents to help people complete everyday tasks using computers, our models need real examples of how people actually use them. Things like mouse movements and clicking buttons and navigating drop-down menus. To help, we're launching an internal tool that will capture these kinds of inputs on certain applications to help us train our models. There are safeguards in place to protect sensitive content, and the data will not be used for any other purpose. real world examples like how to use specific applications on work computers. It kind of sounds like me, like people are training AI to do their job for them. That's exciting. Wonderful. If only RoboZuck would comment on that, but he's too busy. He's too busy exporting his billions of dollars out of California before that billionaire wealth tax takes into effect. Guys, he bought a land down there in Miami. He's moving on down to Miami. All right, leave your politics with you, Mark, please. All right. U.S. spy laws are set to expire, and lawmakers are split over protecting Americans from warrantless surveillance. So this deals with the FISA courts, and effectively the Trump administration would really, 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 really love to just extend these on another long, long time until, without any changes, because we got to have that sweet government spying. Got to protect us all. I don't know. Maybe if some other cities would actually, keep the criminals in jail, maybe hand over the ones that shouldn't be here, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess, but that might be a lot to ask for. All right. So long-running law allows U.S. intelligence agencies to collect and analyze huge amounts of overseas communications without needing search warrants. Is set to expire April 30th. Lawmakers are in a deadlock over whether to allow the Trump administration to extend it without any changes. This, of course, deals with the FISA courts, which should be completely abolished. So some people are voting to just expand it for a couple more days while they can have discussions. So some people, there's a group of people, including Ron Wyden and who's the Republican from Utah, are trying to add some things into it. So they're saying, hey, if we're going to extend it, let's go ahead and add some of the things that we want in it. We'll get into those in a minute here. Let's see. So they seek provisions to prevent government agencies from using a backdoor search loophole, allowing them to trawl the communications of Americans without first obtaining it. Another would prevent federal agencies from buying commercially available data about Americans from data brokers. Practice government has also long asserted that it does not need a court's permission for. So if the best thing is for these to stop. But if we're going to continue them under the condition that we ban the government from buying data broker information, it might be a silent win in a small way. But Republicans and Democrats want to close the data broker agency. They allow spy agencies to buy commercial data and use AI models to analyze billions of location points. That really is the fundamental problem. So the last thing we need is Palantir to be collecting, storing, and de-siloing all this data, and Mythos out there analyzing all the pieces together. And then, of course, the AI gets things wrong. And then, the FBI kicks in your door because you happen to take a jog by a bank in the morning on your morning run. So, you don't want to be under that one. So it's unclear if the bill will pass. Lawmakers say legislative reforms are necessary, especially as technological advances make it easier for tech companies and governments to surveil. See, we need to end the partnership between the public-private sector partnerships. We need to ban the big tech companies from collecting, storing, harvesting, and analyzing private information. We need better privacy laws in that respect. That's what we need to be done, and we need to prevent the government from doing any form of purchasing any data from any big tech companies. You wanted information, you got to go through and get a warrant. There you go. So Wyden has warned that many lawmakers are not fully aware multiple U.S. administrations have long relied on a secret legal interpretation of 702 that directly affects privacy rights of Americans. And so they're kind of getting in that. He would like to expose what's going on, but he can't because it's all still classified information. So that's wonderful. Isn't that great? France, I don't usually include a lot of international stuff, but this one was good because this is France ANTS ID system. So this is the central federal system that you use if you need to apply for, IDs and passports and a bunch of things. And yeah, it was breached. Handles applications for passports, ID cards, residence permits, and driver's licenses. Authorities detected an incident on April 15th and warned that it may have exposed personal data from both individuals and professionals. Security breach may have exposed user details such as login, ID, email, name, date of birth, and account ID, and in some cases, street address, place of birth, and phone number. They say it does not include uploaded documents and does not allow direct access to user accounts. So that's good. They didn't get the uploaded documents or that, but they got everything they would need to spoof you on creating a new one. So that's always good. Wonderful. Isn't that great? That's so wonderful. This was a neat new bug that came out. So, not bug, a scam. So this is Apple notifications. Like real Apple notifications are used to drive tech support scams. Fortunately, in the current iteration, they still, if you have a couple of functioning synapses that are dancing together, you will probably not fall for this. But you might have elderly parents that very well could, especially since everyone's using either an Apple or an iPhone or an Android. If you're in the Apple ecosystem and you have these, and by the way, I'm still getting several of those account things on my whole inbox is full of them. I'm just to see how many I get. I don't know. I've never had that issue resolved. So anyway, scammers found a way to abuse legitimate Apple account notification emails to trick users into calling fake tech support numbers. So what they're doing is they're creating a real Apple account, but then what they're doing is under the information that you can put in, they're basically putting in stuff that can be fed into like the name field. So, when you're filling out your Apple account, whatever you put here, dear switch to Linux, first name switched, maybe first name switched, middle name to, and last name Linux, right? Would record out on an email. It will take all this information and put it together at the preface of an email. So it says, dear switch to Linux. Well, now what they're doing is they're filling out information with all this kind of stuff here with some spoofed purchase information and then a fake phone number here. And so what they're doing then is Apple will, if you have some issue, you will get an email back from Apple. And what they're doing is they're piping that email program into an email list that will effectively forward this directly on everybody. But because of the way they're doing it, everybody is getting the email legitimately from Apple. So they're calling this callback phishing. And so this is what it actually looks like. And you'll see it's actually coming from Apple, Apple ID at id.apple.com. So it's a legitimate address and they're putting in everybody's real email address, basically spamming a BCC contact list. And then it says, your Apple account information has been updated. Dear user, $899 US iPhone purchased via PayPal. To cancel this, call the phone number. So again, if you're paying attention, you're probably not going to fall for this. And then, hey, the following changes to your Apple account were made on, this date, shipping information. This is all information they put in there. So somebody that's not really a keen or is prone to quickly worry, like, oh my God, $899 is charged my PayPal account. They got to call this phone number right now. And you've just called the scammer. So beautiful, wonderful thing. And so even the email header there is like information has been updated, but the information I purchased. So if you're paying attention, you probably are not going to fall for this, but it is definitely a clever one. I wait to see what the future iterations of that one going to be. All right, and this was a good one. This wasn't big enough to have a whole Windows Wednesday article on, but yeah, some people are finding that the Patch Tuesday patch for April is breaking your BitLocker. That thing that they forced on everybody's computer. Now, the saving grace here, it's not everybody. It is people with an atypical configuration with an out-of-date BIOS firmware. So just be aware of that. But there are a few limited cases that if you have this, particularly if you've done BitLocker, anything outside of the regular norm, you are at risk of needing to enter your decryption key manually. So make sure you have those decryption keys before you install the Patch Tuesday for April, folks. All right, so With previous updates, some users run into issues. They've confirmed a specific BitLocker-related problem that can cause affected devices to boot directly into BootLocker recovery screen, preventing access to the desktop. Behavior is triggered by an unrecommended BitLocker configuration. So BitLocker must be enabled on the operating system drive and configure TPM platform validation profile for native UEFI firmware configurations. Policy must be configured to PCR7 included in the validation profile. So that's the not recommended one. They also did say that the device must not already be running the 2023 signed Windows Boot Manager. So you also have an old signed Windows Boot Manager. They say it's not a widespread issue and most devices are not affected, but just be aware if you do have any weird settings inside of your BootLocker, you may have problems. Make sure you got that decryption key before you push that update. Congratulations, Microsoft. Y'all did it again. Oh, this is good. Remember that wave of ransomware, and then ransomware negotiators come up, kind of like the kidnap negotiators, right? And so ransomware negotiator comes down and pleads guilty to helping ransomware gang. There were actually 3 of them, and they were all working for a company. And not only did they negotiate higher rates for the ransomware guys, which put money into their pocket, but they also helped the ransomware companies install the malware on the potential clients. How wonderful. Angelo Martino, a former ransomware negotiator, has pled guilty to helping cyber criminals extort companies in cyber attacks. He used to work for Digital Mint, admitted to playing both sides in the negotiation in 5 separate incidents. His goal was to maximize the criminal's payout, for which he took a cut, prosecutors said. He is the 3rd ransomware negotiator in the past year to face jail time. And they all, by the way, worked for Digital Mint. So if you are hiring one of these companies, I would highly recommend not using Digital Mint. They apparently are not vetting their employees well enough. All right. So Digital Mint employee Kevin Tyler Martin, as well as Ryan Clifford, a former incident report manager at cybersecurity firm Cigna, of going rogue and helping the ransomware gang. And this is why we need to not have information on the internet, folks. Pled guilty to extortion, faces up to 20 years in prison. Authorities say they already seized $10 million in assets from. He also admitted to helping Goldberg and Martin deploy Alpha V Black Cat's ransomware against several victims inside the U.S. for 6 months in 2023. An unnamed Digital Mint spokesperson told TechCrunch in a statement, the company had no knowledge of his criminal actions and it fired the 2 employees after learning of accusations against them. So that's good, but maybe a little too little, a little too late. All right. And of course, Tesla, I did want to include this one because it just kind of shows us one of the challenges here with our current world is we keep on getting like, and everyone's talking about like there's videos all over, oh, look about all these subscriptions are everywhere and all these subscriptions. Y'all guys keep buying them. Okay. I have never bought a subscription service. I mean, obviously services, phone, internet service, things like that, obviously. Amazon Prime, I gotta get free. Guys, can I let you in on a little secret? Amazon Prime doesn't get you things shipped faster. The only thing it might get you is free shipping on orders lower than $35. You do realize you go to Amazon and you hit a $35 balance, it's free shipping on almost everything. Unless it's sold by some third party. So you go in there and you make sure your cart's over $35 or higher, and they don't have a separate shipping tier. It's all shipped the same way. You still get free shipping. It still comes really fast. Like I literally last Saturday, I think, ordered something on Amazon, and it was in my mailbox on Tuesday. I don't have Amazon Prime. I didn't pay anything for shipping. Stop paying for Amazon Prime! I mean, obviously, if you watch the movies, it might be worth it to you, but don't be buying Amazon Prime. I get fresh free shipping. No, you don't. You get the same shipping as everybody else as long as your order is over $35. If you're sitting here like placing multiple amounts of micro orders at $2.99, manage your purchasing better. I mean, really. But anyway, how this ties into Tesla. Tesla has a Q1 revenue rise. They did have a couple of dips, but now they're rising. Why is it rising? Well, that full self-driving is now subscription. They shipped fewer vehicles than they were projected to, but they did raise prices. And full self-driving subscriptions, just like Apple, Apple started moving to subscription stuff for things, and their revenues started to skyrocket. Tesla's like, hey, we want to join in the skyrocket revenues. Let's just go ahead and start adding more subscriptions to our cars. And to be clear, Tesla did have some other subscriptions as well. They have a subscription if you want a higher battery range. Like, it's the same exact batteries. Your battery range is just limited by a piece of software that if you give them more money every month, they let your batteries take you further. It's the same batteries. They're just letting it take you further. You just got to pay them a little bit more money. If you stop doing this, people, if we as a collective society stop paying subscription services, we might actually reach 2030 and still own things and still be happy. But they saw an uptick in revenue and profit year-over-year figures, buoyed by an increase in automotive revenue and other services, including active subscriptions to its full self-driving. And if you remember, full self-driving used to be a one-time payment. It was like $1,000 or something. Now it's just a $99 a month subscription. So, how long is it? Oh, 1 year, that's $1,200. So instead of paying $1,000 once, now you'll be paying $1,200 perpetually. I hope you like your full self-driving. And please pay attention because full self-driving Teslas do, in studies, tend to still run over childlike objects in the street. Just be aware of that. All right. That was some study from the NTSB, not me. All right. So, but yeah, they are saying here that their business models increased. They had a couple quarters of decrease. They went back up after they started doing some full self-driving subscription services. So there you go, guys. If you're starting a business, you want to make lots more money, go ahead and start adding subscription services. And with that, let's go ahead and jump over to SillyVille. We were super light on the SillyVille news, so I did pull in, as I usually do, a very neutral, funny story that wasn't tech-related, but it was just too beautiful not to include. The Illinois Museum's Titanic exhibit floods on the anniversary of the 6th shipping. Okay. This is God literally coming down and saying, I just wanted to remind you, I did sink that boat. Okay. So there is a museum to the Titanic in Illinois. Volo Museum in Illinois installed a permanent Titanic display 3 years ago, and the display immediately flooded. Then, on the anniversary of Titanic sinking, it flooded again. According to Fox 32, museum curator Brian Grams is convinced the display is haunted. Oh, no. It's just experiencing a godly karma. Y'all said you couldn't sink this ship. I'm telling you, I sank it, and I'm going to keep sinking it. Don't tell God what to do. Building has never had water, not a drop. Once we put in the Titanic exhibit, it took on water.
I'm the owner of the museum, and he said a water sensor went off. Looked like in the Titanic Museum. This is around 9 o'clock. There's a ton of storms last night. We come in today.
All right, so I don't know if we're going to get a copyright claim on that video there because there's some music in the background. But look at this. This is crazy. Couldn't figure out where the water's coming from. It's just flooded. Oh, dear. Storms in the area. Museum staff said there were no cracks in the foundation, no broken pipes, no leaky roofs, no obvious points of entry to explain the flooding. Both times security cameras recorded floods originated from beneath the six-fendered 1912 Renault. There were only 2 of them ever made. One is in the Titanic's hold at the bottom of the ocean, and the other is at the museum. That's kind of cool, actually. All right, so just saying, it never would have happened if Rose had let Jack get on the stupid raft with her. That's right, guys. Or it probably would have never happened if they didn't run around saying, God, not even God could sink this ship. Oh, yeah, he can. And yes, he did. And he's going to keep reminding you every year. All right, on to dystopian silliness. UK is going to roll out facial recognition everywhere after the High Court rules against Big Brother Watch, saying it violated human rights. Yes, there is a watch group in UK called Big Brother Watch. And Big Brother Watch is warning against as Orwellian dystopian nonsense coming to Britain. And Big Brother Watch took UK to court over rolling out of facial recognition cameras. And the police are saying, oh, no, we only use these to look for bad people, not good people. If you're a good person, you have nothing to hide. All right. And so now Big Brother Watch loses their lawsuit. And as soon as they lose their lawsuit, UK comes out and says, yep, we're putting facial recognition cameras everywhere. Take that, Big Brother Watch. I love Big Brother! I love Big Brother! So there you go. Look at that dystopian looking thing. Ugh. It's kind of like an Illuminati eye. Yeah. So these guys, they are treating 1984 like a field guide. So I should remind them it was a dystopian story. But of course these guys get into power and they're just like, hey, you know, it'd be wonderful. What if we put out these cameras? We can spy on everybody. Yeah, that sounds awesome. These are what they look like. They kind of look like my van, which is kind of frightening. So maybe I should do that. I should grab some of these live facial recognition stickers and put them on the side of my van. Maybe put some like camera looking things at the top, drive around, you know, CCTV in operation. I should do that. What if I'd get stopped? I don't know. So, you know, but Big Brother is indeed now watching because Big Brother Watch failed to stop Big Brother from watching. Yeah, good feelings are gone, folks. Well, if you'd like Big Brother to watch you help support this channel, have a look over at our website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have our various ways of helping support the channel over there. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts about all these in the comments down below. Alrighty. Well, I think dude, the cat literally just jumped off the bed. Let's go ahead and grab the beast. We'll feed the beast, and then we will come back and wrap up our comments section here. Hey, kitty cat. Hey, you. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Come on. Ooh, smell that? Oh, yeah, you smell that, huh? All right, the kitty has been fed. Now she's like, where am I? I don't know where I am anymore. I was moved. I was moved. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is blind and deaf at this point in time. She doesn't hear the kitty treats. Even if I put one down, she has to smell to find it. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at our comments. Let's see what type of nonsense has been going over there on Matrix right now. Okay, Zuckerberg. I see some Zuckerberg references. All right, let's see. I don't use AI at all, says some random guy. Same at the moment. AI is too useful to disregard. I go, personally feel AI makes people lazy. I can definitely agree with that. Yeah, most modern tech does. A lot of modern tech makes people lazy. You should use your skills or you get rusty. That is correct. I mean, you can still use AI and still patch your skills up. That is certainly true. The internet is the root cause of most issues. Yeah, no connectivity, no age verification, no spyware, no data stealing, no nothing. Just destroy the underwater cables. The world will slowly heal. Yep, that is true. Gobbledygook. We must destroy the internet. That is how we must stop it. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, I mean, I remember the days before the internet, but the only like major hesitation I have is like everything I do to make money now is on the internet, which is kind of a frightening place to put myself into. But oh well, I guess such it is. But people are like cattle. They'll keep paying for subs. Like Piggy eating through the slop. That's right. That is right indeed. All right. Over there on Rumble. Nobody else over there. Okay. It's a sad, lonely place on Rumble. All right. On Odyssey 11. Watching over there on Odyssey. Windows 11 or Windows Vista? Not 11 for me. Too much of a mess. Yeah. No, 7. 7 is in the XP class. Yes. 11 is such a psychospasm. There's still the federal bill looming. Yes. The cache is remote. Good cause. Practice restart your phone daily. No, it's a local cache on the iPhone. On one junk laptop, I run Windows 11 in VirtualBox to update an old Garmin and keep the tabs on how awful it's become. Still nags me about my carbon footprint. Really? It nags you about your car. That's one I haven't seen yet. Yeah, nags you about the your carbon footprint in the settings while it forces everyone to throw away their perfectly good computers and buy new ones. Got it. And not to mention, of course, yes, as your point there, the AI data centers are an absolute disaster. Like me using just anything regular power, regular day is like as damaging as into the environment as a fart. Their AI data centers is like putting a volcano up multiple times. Something like LG Velvet, I think it clears a reboot since the stock. Yeah. Garmin Navigator by chance. All right. Old Nuvi. Yeah, my old Nuvi finally gave up the ghost, so I bought one of the new ones. Have you tried Waze for navigating? No. No, use an offline car GPS for navigating. Everything else feeds big tech. All right. I'd rather have Windows Millennium. Yes, it crashed a lot, but it didn't hack me. There you go. Which reminds me, has Switch Linux made a Linux 7 video? Wondering what benefits it provides now that it is live. I have not. Does anyone theme their Linux? I have a Cinnamon that looks like Windows Vista. I generally don't theme it as much as I would probably like to. It's just for me. I just don't have the time to it. You know, I probably should, but I don't. All right, let's see. Whoa, where did I leave up? Wow, we have a lot of comments. All right. Soon the chocolate in the Kit Kat bar will no longer be real chocolate because of the shortage. Soon your coffee will get expensive. Hey, coffee is already getting up there in price. That is one of the things I have noticed. Coffee is going up. In my opinion, best used as an automation of tasks, maybe debug syntax. Yeah, that's true. I almost, like, I was dealing with an issue in coding a website for somebody last night. I almost got out my AI server to ask it if it could identify what was going on. Fortunately, though, I was able to get it debugged. More on me was calling Bootstrap.js file twice because I was updating a really, really old theme for modern Bootstrap and forgot that many years ago I used to use the JS and Q system to add scripts to the WordPress JavaScript and Qmint system. And so I had the Bootstrap in there, whereas when I'm doing new theming, I found it better to manually insert it into the footer because it tends to load a little bit better. That got me going for like 2.5 hours. I'm like, what is going on here? I finally noticed that in the developer tools, debounce was happening, and that means that something was triggering twice. So every time you hit a menu, it would simultaneously trigger Bootstrap twice, and that caused that pull the denounce, and that told me there's got to be 2 Bootstrap scripts. So I go into the source code of the application, I find 2 Bootstrap source scripts. I'm like, wait, what? So I go over to the functions file. There's Bootstrap in the JS and Q. So crap. Tom's an idiot. Got that fixed. No AI needed. Anyway, let's see. Distro was kind of in a whack for a while now. Latest piece on Anthropic was I don't know. I haven't watched all of his stuff for a while. I should go check him out again. Nice little side business fixing computers during the XP to Windows 8 era. Nice. AI gives narcissism. Yeah, absolutely. Sycophancy leads to narcissism. Illinois had a similar bill going through its Senate right now, I believe, with some weird carve-outs for paid subscriptions. It's a really concerning trend, yeah. I think the best thing right now is several of these cases are actually litigating in court, though I think one of them did pass through court. But that one, I think, dealt specifically with adult websites. Mostly use AI in browser via Brave search. Using it to find Python models and basic questions. All right. Let's see. Missed the Windows 3.1 days. Yeah, Windows 3.1 days were nice. I had a Windows 3.1 laptop in college. I was the cool kid in the coffee shop. Only guy in the coffee shop with a computer. In a scenario where there is a federal law and a state law which takes precedence, the federal law generally takes precedence. So the way it kind of goes, a federal law will federally be over the land, and a state law could supplement that. But if the two are in conflict, the federal law generally takes precedence, but it would be up to the state to decide what and how to prosecute. So, as an example, with the green leafy smokables. It is still a federal crime to engage in your smokabilities, but several states have passed it and made it legal to various degrees. Even though California can somehow make it crazier for the legal market, that the legal people are leaving for going to other states like Colorado because of overregulation. But what happens in those cases there, it's like a bank, because it's under federal jurisdiction, a bank will not do business with a weed farm. So they have to find other ways, maybe something deeply local or much more cash-based, only things like that. But the federal could still come in and do something, but as long as the state isn't causing issues or they're not causing cross-state issues, they're generally not going to get involved unless they want to for either a political motive or some egregious motive. So ultimately, the federal law precedes the state law, but it's up to the states to generally inform on what they might need to take precedent on. This is why cases like the Derek Chauvin case, for example, there were a federal component and a state component to that, which is why he's serving in a jail sentence, not in Minnesota, because it was a federal crime which he is serving in prison, or was serving in prison in, I think, Tucson for a while, because that was all on federal charges, but there were also pending state charges as well. And so there's a little bit of overlap between how the laws work. Preaching to the choir. All right. How great the all right. It is ableist as Wayland breaks accessibility. Go figure. Wayland breaks everything. I do not trust Apple at all. Yeah. One Service Pack 3 hit XP. It was one of the best OSs. Yeah, absolutely. I remember Service Pack 3. I definitely remember Service Pack 2. That was awesome. Saying his best experience run Manjaro GNOME on 4 gigs of RAM, but it did a test a couple weeks ago on a client's HP laptop. There you go. Yeah, 4 gigs, I'd definitely go with a lighter desktop than GNOME, but able to run Firefox and YouTube at 720p just fine. I ended up going Manjaro XFCE on that system. When I tried to open the laptop upgrade, the RAM to 8 gigabyte, the plastic was so soft it started cracking even with the thin guitar pick. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, you could also do, like, with those cases, MX Linux is one of my go-tos for lower spec systems. I do love my MX Linux. Let's see, a few issues on Wayland on Manjaro GNOME. Personally, XFCE is moving to Wayland, but taking longer to do it. Yeah. Will happen when the internet goes away and there are no online maps. They'll have to get those paper maps. Can they read paper maps? No, I don't think they can. And that's something that, like, that's a skill we should all learn. Like, you guys should learn how to read paper maps. I mean, I can read them. I love paper maps. Not that I open them up a lot, but every time I'm driving through a rest area, I always stop and stare at the maps for a good long time. I just love to see the maps and understand how they work. And even on my phone, where I use OpenStreetMaps on my phone, I don't use location services almost never. Like, I will if I'm hiking on a trail, because OpenStreetMaps has a lot of the trails across the United States on them, so I can make sure, especially if I'm in a weird or unfamiliar area. In fact, there was a time recently where I was hiking a trail and I had to keep looking at the map because the trail was doing some seemingly weird things. So the phone was actually very helpful in that respect. So, you know, I'll do that. But even most of the time, I don't turn location services on the phone. Most of the time, I just use the map like a paper map and just zoom and scroll and see what's where. And that's usually how I use it, even on the phone. It's expensive to get 2 times 32 gig of DDR4 RAM right now. Yeah, I just got two 8 gig sticks, I think. Yeah, I got 2 8 gig sticks, and it was $150. So that gave me 32 gigs of RAM in this computer now. So I was running 16 for a while. Now I got 32. I'm feeling stronger, more powerful. I think the Gen X in Miami right now might run Zuck out of the state. They're serious down there. Yeah. Not to defend the practice, but sometimes commonplace U.S. to train your foreign successors. So a lot of people just accept at this point. Yeah. Okay, let's see. AI models and Palantir. Yeah. 2 words combined, they can't make sense. All right. Let's see. Ex Libra is the best. Wayland sucks so much more. Too paranoid and too red hat. Yep. I did see somebody on X is like, Ubuntu's getting too corporate. I'm going to Fedora. Fedora is controlled by actually a big tech company. Like, at least Canonical's not technically a big tech company right now. But Fedora is under Red Hat, which is owned by IBM, okay? You want to be like, oh, you're going to get away from this corporate stuff. Fedora is not your choice. Oh, dear. Must I say it again? Okay, let's see. Started playing Minecraft around beta. Kind of get bored with it. Let's see. There's some discussions back and forth between a couple people. Not going to read those ones. Let's see. One of my clients' HP laptop a couple weeks ago. I gave them a blue screen, not in a VM. Uh-oh. Perfect. We can disagree peacefully, I think. Differences of opinion don't matter. Anyway. More to the point, I'm saying it'd be nice if I have options other than Wayland and X11. Yeah, that's true. X Libre is good. Let's see. There's people learning programming. Good. That way you can keep an eye on the AI programs. Should be illegal for the battery company to be limited by the software. Yeah. Like they give it, like if people are in natural disaster zones, they'll unlock it for people remotely so people can go further in an emergency situation, which is good of them. But yeah, you're right. I mean, to lock it down in software to extract more money is kind of ridiculously stupid. Looks like Microsoft is going to lay off 9,000 software engineers, replace them with AI. Oh, God. There goes the world. Sounds like a bad time to watch some popcorn, yeah. According to the Poly Market on X, okay. Just in, Microsoft's offering voluntary retirement buyout. 8,750 U.S. employees. Oh, yikes. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. Okay. really want to switch to Linux, but a lot of games still require a lot of tinkering, not to mention the disgusting kernel level anti-cheats. Yeah, there's really only, I think the current number is like 87% of Linux games work fine. And there a lot of games already have all the tweaks worked out. You just got to follow the instructions. But I'm not a gamer. I don't know how annoying that is. So that's something that you'd want to look at. I agree with you, but the way they're manipulating money makes it seem like it'll be dragged out for as long as possible. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, that's tonight or late. Let's see. 5 coding, AI bubble waiting to pop, waiting for it to happen. Yeah, it's the market's getting weird. I guess the one thing about the stock market, though, right now, you should still get in it because remember that the reason a lot of the super wealthy are, quote unquote, according to some, not paying their fair share, is because they're not running around with actual cash. Their wealth is all on paper. It's all in the stock market. And if you think those guys are going to let the stock market completely crash and burn, you got another thing coming. Because without that stock market stuff, they have absolutely nothing. And they're the only ones in the position of power to maintain the stock market up. So if you can't beat them, join their game. You should always be putting something into the stock market because the guys that actually control all the power, all of their wealth is there because the loopholes are there that not only they can take advantage of, you can too. You can take advantage of the same things they do to not have to pay taxes on income gain if it's in the stock market and you're not taking out. So they're not going to let all of their wealth disappear in a total market crash. So you got to get in there and join them. Okay. That's your white pill. Now, plan other ways. Have your own means to make food. Have another way to make it work. But that should be one of your backup plans. Invest your wealth where the wealthy invest their wealth. Because that way, if they go down, you go down. But they're not going to let themselves go down because that's all their wealth. Okay. They're not running around with millions of dollars in their pocket. Most of them have less money in their pocket than you do, which is a frightening thing because they'd have to pay too much money if they had it. And so love that or hate that. If you don't like that, you got to vote people in who change that. But understand everyone who wants to change that is going to have to deal with ultra wealthy people who want to do nothing more but keep that exactly the way it is. So investing your money with where they have their money invested kind of guarantees that if you lose everything, they're losing everything too. And so that's a kind of a crazy thing to think about, but that's kind of your black pill survival plan. Okay. Okay. Use some same distros. Look like a Mac to tease the pissed off the fanatic cult Mac fans and relatives. Now I pretty much keep the default settings. Oh, you should do that though on an old Mac Intel computer. Theme your Linux to look like Mac in Mac hardware. That would be epic. Hey, we got some people over there on Rumble. Hello. William Hackman, greetings to you. Watching this from California anyways. I'm sorry, man. So sorry. So sorry. All right. If we only stop the U.S. adding age verification to Linux because that will ruin Linux anyway. Yeah. Armenian gangsters dominate the dispensaries and cartels still have control of the illicit market. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Use Google Earth to look at many countries, but have to use Baidu Maps to look around China because no street view in China on Google Earth anyways. Yeah. You can play Unreal Tournament on Linux. Best first-person shooter ever played. All right. The government goes, the landlord still expects to get paid. Yep. That is certainly true. Old work stock is going. When I left, I cashed out, but I had 0.12 cents. At the end of the day, I left for some reason. I just left it sit there and been getting an increase in its value ever since. Nice. All right. All right, guys. I think we've got to the bottom of our comments. Y'all can say goodbye to the kitty cat. Bye, kitty. She can't hear me anyway. So anyway, I'm saying bye to her, but she's like, I can't hear you. Okay. Can't hear you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next week. When we see you again, we'll have a reduced video schedule next week, but I will get out what I can when I can. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will catch you all later.